Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Rockstar cheers for me this evening. Hello there, welcome. From across the United States and also around the world, it is time once again for another fun-filled throwback. An always exciting edition of the Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. I am Pastor Michael Mangus, broadcasting this evening from the extremely secret radio room surrounded by thousands of watts in a secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio. That is so top secret that Diego knows where it's at, but I will not tell the Chief Operating Officer of New Thought Media Network, the Reverend Robert Brzezinski. I will not tell him where it's at. He thinks he knows. He says, I'm broadcasting from my house. But again, this could be a really good setup. Oh, listen, it's good to see everyone this evening. We do have a really good show for you tonight. Please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments below on Facebook. And again, for all the shy people out there, I know one or two of you are out there. If you could, please feel free to contact me by email at pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. It's kind of hard for me to take a look at them while we are broadcasting, but I always take a look at them when we're off the air. So again, if you would like to kind of chime in, tell me what you're thinking, tell me that you're watching, that would be great. So the purpose of our Fireside Chat each and every Friday evening here on the New Thought Media Network is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought perspective. And as I keep saying, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on around us, not only here in the U.S., but globally. And again, as I say week after week, you do not have to agree with me. Now, we play the weekly disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed are those of my own and not those of the New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or really anyone else. We play that as a joke, but also because they're my views or my opinions. I just want us all to have a new thought about what is going on around us. There he is. Hi, Wayne. Top up your cool with new thought. Wayne, we really appreciate you so much up there in Canada. But we have viewers all across not only the United States, but also really around the world. We do have a great show tonight. And again, I had to bribe our technical department here at the New Thought Media Network to do their magic. I had to buy them an extra pizza this week. I think we have everything all squared away for my good friend from the North Coast, as we call it, Cleveland, Ohio. We have from the Miracle Center for Spiritual Living, my longtime friend, practitioner emeritus Fran Daniels, will be speaking on what makes prayer effective. Fran has been a practitioner for well over 30 years, just a wonderful soul, wonderful consciousness. And I know that you will enjoy her views here around 8:30 this evening, or around 30 past the hour for everyone else. We're on Eastern time here. I would like to wish a happy field day to all of my amateur radio friends from Alpha Charlie 8 Tango Hotel. That is AC8TH. That's my call sign. This is from the American Radio Relay League. What is the ARRL Field Day? Well, Field Day is the single most popular on-air event held annually in the U.S. and also in Canada. On the fourth weekend of June every single year, thousands of radio amateurs gather with their clubs, groups, or simply with friends to operate from remote locations. Also like to say that it's without power. It's without actual electricity off the grid. You have to use some type of generator or some type of alternative power to participate in the contest over the weekend. Field Day is a picnic, a camp out, a practice for emergencies, an informal contest, and most of all, fun. There are some good food served on Field Day, believe me. It is a time when many aspects of amateur radio come together to highlight our many roles. While some will treat it as a contest, other groups use it as an opportunity to practice their emergency response capabilities. It's an excellent opportunity to demonstrate amateur radio to organizations that amateur radio might serve in an emergency as well as general public. For many clubs, ARRL Field Day is one of the highlights of their annual calendar. The contest part is simply to contact as many other stations as possible and to learn to operate our radio gear in abnormal situations in less than optimal conditions. So again, for our friends out west, some of them will be, again, in temperatures of well over 100 degrees, practicing their amateur radio skills this weekend. We use these same skills when we help with events such as marathons and bikeathons, fundraisers such as walkathons, celebrations such as parades and exhibits at fairs, malls, and museums. These are all large, pre-planned, non-emergency activities. But despite the development of a very complex modern communication system, or maybe because they are so complex, ham radio has been called into action again and again to provide communications in crises when it really does matter. Amateur radio people, also called hams, are well known for our communication support in real disaster and post-disaster situations. And as I have pointed out to many of my friends, you all depend upon these things too much. What would happen if all the radio and all the cell towers got knocked out? Amateur radio to the rescue. And so, again, it's fun. It's a great hobby. But also it serves a very serious purpose that when shift happens, that the amateur radio operators in your town, in your community, always step up, are always there, ready to really to serve. So we wish everyone a happy field day this weekend. May you get lots of DX and a lot of CQ contacts this weekend. And from me to you, 73, which means best wishes. So I know it's going to be a great weekend. Getting to the news this evening, we lead off with, this is what we know about the condo collapse in Miami so far. At least 159 people remain missing after a residential building partially collapsed in Surfside, Florida, which is near Miami yesterday. Search and rescue teams are racing to find survivors. We'll tell you why in just a moment. At least 4 people are dead, officials say. Emergency officials are also asking people, and I'll give out the phone number this evening. It's 305-614-1819. I'll say it again, 305-614-1819, if they have relatives who are unaccounted for. The cause for the collapse is still unknown, but this is what they know so far. Pancake collapses. Why they're so dangerous. Again, this is from CNN. It is not fully clear what caused the oceanfront condo tower in Surfside, Florida, to partially collapse, sending some units in the 12-story building plummeting to the ground. Experts are still looking to determine the exact contributing factors that led to the catastrophe. But from what investigators know, the building appears to have fallen in a pancake collapse, and we'll explain that here in a moment. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue District Chief Jason Richard told CNN, though evidence of other types of collapses are present too. Pancake collapses are severe and extremely dangerous, and their damage can complicate search and rescue efforts. So here's how they happen. Pancake collapses are so named for the ways that the collapsing floors land and stack as they fall, says Greg Favor, who is an executive director of the St. Louis Regional Response System, a former commanding officer with the St. Louis Fire Department and experienced rescue team member. Pancake collapses tend to stack floors on top of themselves, bringing all the weight down nearly square on the floor below. So what happens is this. And usually what happens is sometimes that there's the way that the building falls, especially like in an earthquake or even an explosion, that what happens is that there's pockets. Sometimes the building will collapse kind of in a V shape. But what happens is that the floors then go on top of the other, which makes it extremely difficult for search and rescue to find these people if they're still alive. A pancake collapse is a progressive failure that often begins at the bottom. A load-bearing element is damaged, usually in a building's lower floor or foundation, which triggers the top floors to collapse vertically onto the floors below. Once there is no support from the bottom floors or foundation, the top floors pounce on from the top to bottom in a progressive manner. So this is why they're dangerous. It's because that there are also few voids or pockets of space and air in the rubble. The sheer tonnage of material makes it very difficult for void spaces to exist. Pancake collapses also complicate search and rescue missions, he said, because the structure that remains near collapse sites are unstable and could fall as rescuers move through the rubble. Our prayers are for comfort and healing. Go to the people of the Miami area. I know we have several New Thought communities around Miami. How we help is this. We help with our consciousness, and we also help with our money. CNN had a whole page about different organizations, including the American Red Cross, that you can send your money to for help in this disaster. So when dealing with personal, national, or world tragedies, I usually leave the why questions to the authorities to figure out. Personally, I teach people to ask how and what questions rather than why questions. Like, how can I help? Or how can I be supportive? Another empowering question to ask is this: what is mine to do to help? So when hit with personal tragedies, a question that I ask myself after feeling sad or angry is this one: what can I learn out of this that will benefit my life now and in the future? I'll say it again. What can I learn out of this that will benefit my life now and in the future? The following is my viewpoint and opinion. For me, blaming God or deity for tragic situations does not help in the overall healing and growth. What if God had nothing to do with it? When the stuff hits the fan, when the shift hits the fan, for me, I ask, how can I be supportive of the overall community? It's not just the family and friends of those who died that are effective or affected. It is also the whole area and to some extent the whole world. So our prayers are with our friends, our family down in Florida, down in the Miami area. And we know that somehow or another that people rise above this. So in other news today, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison for the 2020 murder of George Floyd. 4 members of Floyd's family, including a 7-year-old daughter, gave victim impact statements to the court. Chauvin addressed the court saying, "I want to give my condolences to the Floyd family." So what were both sides asking for? The prosecutors were asking for a 30-year sentence, and Chauvin's attorney was asking for probation and time served. In researching for tonight's show, I wanted to read to you this article. Minnesota Attorney General says that the outcome of the Chauvin case is not enough. Again, from CNN, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison placed the sentencing of Derek Chauvin this afternoon in perspective, saying that he hopes that this moment will give us pause and allow us to rededicate ourselves to real societal change that will move us much farther along the road of justice. Again, this is still Attorney General Ellison speaking. He says, "My hope is that he takes the time to learn something about the man whose life he took and about the movement that rolls up to call for justice in the wake of George Floyd's torture and death. Today is also an important moment for our country. The outcome of this case is critically important, but by itself, it's not enough. My hope for our country is that in this moment, it gives us pause and allows us to rededicate ourselves to real societal change that will move us much further along the road to justice." Ellison also went on to call for the passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which remains stalled in Congress. "I call on leaders and members of Congress to pass the best and strongest version of this bill that can be passed and to pass it now. President Biden called on the Congress to pass the bill. It must be passed. Lives are depending upon it. It is just that simple. Attorney General Ellison said. The murder last summer of George Floyd was a wake-up call for all of us to end racism. This call to action is not only in our police departments and in society. It is also for all of us to examine within ourselves the racism that's still there, especially those who are classified as white. Let us not let this man's death last summer go down in history as another black man killed by the police. Let us all be able to look in the future and to be able to look back and say that the death of George Floyd woke us all up, especially the white community, to the systematic racism that's still with us 50 plus years after the civil rights movement. And for me, with my light-colored skin and my privilege, to speak up for all of those who are persecuted because their skin color is darker than mine. All, and I mean all of us, are children of God. We are all children of this one creative, infinite source. For those of us who are aware of their spiritual nature, we also must be aware of our oneness for one another. When one factor of society is putting down or oppressing another, it affects all of us. We are all interconnected. Whether we like it or not, we're still interconnected. George Floyd was our brother. Now, what are we to do about it? Well, the cure is to see and know a world that does work for everyone. And we let our consciousness express itself in inspired action. Everything we do from a spiritual perspective must be done in love, or it will not last. And I'll say that again. Everything we do must be from a spiritual perspective and love, or it will not last. And this is also not done by hating the sinner, like Derek Chauvin, abusive police, and also those who practice racism. Change comes from calling out the sin and bringing it out for healing. Change comes from all of us being the love that we are. It is so wonderful to see everyone this evening. Welcome. This is the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. I am Pastor Michael Mangus. In just a few moments, and we are messaging our tech department right now. Hopefully we'll have on this evening my good friend, practitioner emeritus Fran Daniels, who will be with us to talk on what makes prayer effective. What makes prayer effective? And so hopefully in a few moments, we'll have Fran on here on the New Thought Media Network on the Friday evening Fireside Chat. Still waiting on that pizza. That's Diego from the technical department. Diego, what do you want on that pizza? Why don't you let me know, and I'll send the tech department. See, the tech department at the New Thought Media Network, when you go inside our doors and you make a right, okay, the the legal department is on the right-hand side, okay, and they take up most of the offices. But then at the end of the hallway on the right-hand side is the tech department. And so we know at the New Thought Media Network not to disturb those ladies and gentlemen. What we do is we slide a pizza under the door once in a while to tell them thank you very much for their support. But yeah, hopefully we'll have Fran on here in just a few moments. So what do you want on that pizza, Diego? Let me know. I received a letter this week from the Centers for Spiritual Living concerning June as Pride Month. And again, I am not, repeat, not a spokesperson. Veggies. Okay, I think we can do that. Do you want extra onion with that, Diego? He'll tell me in a moment. Again, I'm not a spokesperson for CSL. However, I do support the stances that are taken by now listen to this. Isn't this a cool committee name? The Spiritually Motivated Social Engagement Committee. How cool is that? So they start off their letter with a quote from Ernest Holmes that says that we exist in limitless opportunities, which are forever seeking expansion through us. And that's taken from the writings of Ernest Holmes from the Science of Mind from the Science of Mind textbook, page 291. And this is their letter. As June draws to a close, the Spiritually Motivated Social Engagement Committee of the Centers for Spiritual Living are inviting our global communities to continue to learn more about Pride Month and also to support local LGBTQIA2+ groups or create new opportunities for inclusion and advocacy for our LGBTQIA2+ friends in our spiritual communities. So that's the official title. LGBTQIA2+ is for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or sometimes questioning, intersexual, asexual, and also two-spirited. Two-spirited is taken from the many indigenous tribes. So when someone is gay or lesbian or transgender, again, that they are called two-spirited. Going on with the letter, and I'll shorten the initials to LGBTQ here. It is a profound act of self-love to celebrate the unique ways that spirit manifests in and others. Pride Month is sometimes seen as a time of year when members of the LGBTQ communities and their allies don rainbow regalia, participate in parades, and throw parties. More and more people are starting to learn about the celebration that we refer to as Pride, that was created as a beginning with the Stonewall riots. That's in June 28th of 1969. And it began as early as May 1959 in Los Angeles and continued with the events leading to the Stonewall riots, or uprising, as it's referred to, where transgender women of color led an act of protest. We stand with the LGBTQ community as its members profess the truth of their humanity, that their health and well-being are essential, and that justice and equality are their rights, not privileges, and that representation and also visibly that they matter. Continuing on with the letter, it says, Pride Month offers us an opportunity to educate ourselves about eliminating stigma, prejudice, and violence that afflicts a significant part of society. Centers for Spiritual Living's dedication of principles, or declaration of principles, state that we believe that the ultimate goal of life is to be complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Discrimination, injustice, and homophobia are just a few of the discords that the LGBTQ community has faced in the past and in many ways continues to face today. Those early Pride events in the U.S. began to eradicate some of the discord that the LGBTQ community was facing. Now, the world over, 50 years later, Pride symbolizes not only the celebration of each person's right to be who they are and love who they love, but it's also a demonstration of radical self-love and love for all. Pride Month can also be an opportunity to recognize that every day is an occasion to celebrate all people in every facet of life everywhere on our planet. May Pride Month this year and every year to come remind us of the innate divinity and spiritual magnificence that we all are. And again, happy Pride to all my LGBTQ friends, colleagues. One of the proudest moments of my life is a couple of years ago is when I marched with my community in the Pittsburgh Pride Parade. It was the first time that that community ever was socially involved like that. We've come a long way, baby. We have, and we still have a long ways to go yet. All right. Well, welcome this evening. If you wonder what you've tuned into, hi there. You've tuned into the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. We have a few announcements, and then we will go to a break. Yours truly is parking himself right now at the Summit CSL. For more information, please go to summitcsl.org. There you will find a ton of information about our wonderful Sunday gathering online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, your chai, or any other beverage that you would like. And please join us. We have one of the best services I've ever seen in New Thought because I believe it does have the right balance of meditation, message, and music. So please join us. That's Sunday mornings, 10:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Pacific time. If you'd like more information, that's summitcsl.org. Join us on the Zoom call. We would love to have you there and to have you to be a part of our wonderful gathering. Also, our broadcast of our Sunday morning service is also put on our Facebook page, which is also the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron. That's our FB or Facebook page. Our Facebook page also has past broadcasts of the Fireside Chat. And yours truly, when he is praying on the New Thought Media Network, which is this evening. I just received word. Yeah, tune in back this evening because I'll be back on tonight. I just got the message from Reverend Robert Brzezinski that says, guess who's up for prayer this evening? And you wonder why I call him my boss. All right. So we'll be praying with you and for you. That's at 8:15 Mountain Time, 10:15 Eastern here on the New Thought Media Network. Well, anyhow, this Sunday at Summit CSL, I forgot to tell you that we will continue our series on the spiritual quality of wisdom with yours truly speaking. And again, please go to summitcsl.org for more info. And the one thing I'd like everyone to do this evening is this. If you're touched by this message, then please, if you could, please share this and other programs that you find on the New Thought Media Network. You may share them on your Facebook page and also on other social media. It really does make a difference when you do that. You are the way that we get promoted because more than likely that you have a group of friends on your Facebook page that are also very like-minded as far as New Thought goes. So again, if you could do that, we would really appreciate that. I'm currently open for practitioner sessions, Sunday speaking, and also wonderful ceremonies, including weddings and you name it. So please contact me, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. The stack I get from Reverend Robert every single week just keeps getting bigger and bigger as far as all the great programming here on this network. I could take 2 hours and tell you about all the great things that we're doing here. And there's a partial schedule and there's stuff being added all the time. Please, if you could, just go on our website on ntmedia.org, go on the schedule page. You'll see this. We got wonderful programs. Tomorrow we have the Science of Mind lecture series and also Spirit Testing with Diego Reyes tomorrow evening. There it is. Tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern here on the New Thought Media Network. And we're lovingly asking for your support. Please go on our donate page, ntmedia.org/donate. You are really sowing a good seed into the Spirit's work here. We use your money 100% to get this message out there. And we're asking for you to partner with us. Not only to send a monthly contribution, again, 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, $50, $100 really goes a long way to keeping us on the air. But also that you really do get the double blessing, the blessing of giving and also the blessing of knowing that your gift affects someone not only here in the United States, but also around the globe. For some people, we're the only New Thought community around. So again, please, if you could, go to our donate page at ntmedia.org/donate. All right. I still don't see Fran, but that's okay. We're going to take a break anyhow, and we'll be back. This is a Friday evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
And good evening to you. You're watching the New Thought Media Network along with the Friday evening Fireside Chat. I'm Pastor Michael Mangus. All right, Diego, I don't see her in the green room. Fran Daniels was supposed to, so my technical department, I gave her the link and everything. So, oh well, the show goes on. One of the stories I wanted to read this evening goes along with Pride Month. And this is how college chaplains became vanguard for the LGBTQ acceptance on campus. It was a little after, this is from the Religion News Service. It was a little after 10 p.m. on a Monday night 40 years ago, when the Reverend Sue Ann Morrow, the assistant dean of the chapel at Princeton University, heard voices from the cafe in the basement of the Murray Dodge Hall, home to the Office of Religious Life. Intrigued, she followed the voices downstairs to a dimly lit corner of the cafe, where a group of 7 students looked at her with a stunned expression. There were gay students who met secretly after campus hours. They had no name for the group, which was symbolic to their invisibility on campus and their fear of being called out, said Reverend Morrow, who is now the school chaplain at the Lawrenceville School in New Jersey. They were so surprised when I introduced myself and asked how I could help them, said Morrow. There she is, beautiful lady. Why would the Dean of Religious Life possibly help them? Now, that was in 1981, which is the early dawn of the AIDS era. And over the next few years, Morrow worked closely with the Princeton Dean of Student Life, as well as an array of undergrad and also graduate students, faculty, and staff to bring visibility to the LGBTQ students on campus. There, she found them a space of their own and hired an intern from the Princeton Theological Seminary to manage the space and also to host LGBTQ activities, a post that evolved to a full-time professional position in 2001, which became known as the LGBTQ Student Service Coordinator. In 1989, again, let's understand and put this in perspective here. If you were a faculty member, and especially clergy, doing this on a college campus, you risked not only censure from the college or university that you were serving, but also censure from your denomination. So what Reverend Morrow did was an extreme act of love and bravery. Going on with the article, it says that in 1989, Morrow founded the annual Gay Jeans Day, on which students who were LGBTQ allies dressed in jeans to show their support and worked with students to foster activism aimed at getting the national and local government to help in the fight against AIDS. It wasn't that long ago in which our hospitals were filled with men and women dying of AIDS. Wasn't that long ago. In 1996, she hosted the first same-sex wedding at the University Chapel, much to the chagrin of conservative students, alumni, and trustees. I bet you they had something to say. The core message of the Christian gospel is about loving each other and lifting each other up. And that seems just a part of who we were, as the Office of Religious Life Morrow said. Creating equal, just, and safe spaces was then and now a part of who I am as a minister and pastor. Brave woman. Again, you risked your whole career when you did this kind of stuff back then. Now it's not so much. There's more acceptance, but it was because that people went ahead and they started standing up for what is right. They were willing to take the consequences. And so what happened is that more and more people were brave enough to stand up and to speak out. Going on with the article, 40 years later, even as some religious colleges continue to seek religious exemption from the anti-LGBTQ discrimination laws, it is common for the Office of Religious Life on American campuses to be a place where LGBTQ students continue to turn for support. At Yale University, the university's chaplain's office joined with the Office of LGBTQ Resources and the Joseph Silfka Center for Jewish Life to host Holy Queer, which is up on our wonderful page right now, a monthly series where students meet to discuss the intersection between their queer and religious identities. Initiatives like these are happening on campuses across our country in different ways and also in different forms. More and more people are recognizing the need to fulfill these spaces for students who come from diverse faith and non-faith backgrounds, gender identities, and also sexual orientations, because that's what makes them a whole person. And again, it wasn't that long ago when ministers, pastors were trying to pray gay out of people. We've come a long way here. I'll continue on with the article. The chaplain from the Spiritual Life and Higher Education, that is Reverend Maytal Saltiel, believes that it is important for chaplains to talk about all that matters to a person, including sexual orientation, because they are matters of the heart and soul, and that's why people come to chaplains to talk. And at some universities, however, efforts on behalf of LGBTQ students by the offices of the Spiritual and Religious Life are still met with skepticism. In 2018, the Center for Sexual and Gender Diversity at Duke University helped create an intersectional and interfaith space for students to discuss faith and sexuality, which grew out of a Presbyterian campus ministry group known as Liberating the Faith, known as the Duke Queer and Trans Christian Discussion Group. Honestly, it wasn't so successful, and we ended up losing people from the group, said Angel Colleague, who was the assistant director at the center, who was a facilitator of Liberating the Faith. Colleague said that students who came from historically conservative Christian backgrounds often found it difficult to question their gender and sexuality while encountering people of diverse faiths for the first time. It was almost a little too much for them. Again, it's a wonderful article on the Religious News Service page if you'd like to go there. But now, as promised, all the way from the North Coast, and also one of my favorite churches, which is Miracle Center for Spiritual Living, we have my good friend Practitioner Emeritus, Fran Daniels. Fran, welcome to the New Thought Media Network and our Friday evening Fireside Chat. And we cannot hear you. And we cannot hear you, Fran. All right. Diego, why don't you work with her here if you could? Or she can try again here. All right. Fran, if you're listening, what you need to do is you need to unmute yourself. or turn up your volume there. Let's try her again here. Fran, can you hear me? Come in, Cleveland, Ohio. CQ, Cleveland, Ohio. We can barely hear you. Fran doesn't look to be muted. All right. Diego, why don't you just take her out just for a second and then see if you can work with her just for a second. Well, hi there. We're having some technical difficulty with Fran here, but hopefully we'll get her back here in just a few moments. But again, lots of things that are going on here at the New Thought Media Network. We have kind of a powwow going on this weekend, a meeting of our staff members as we plan to put together our plan for this year and also next year. Fran, are you still with us? I can hear you a little bit. I don't think that your microphone is put on. Yeah, I can barely hear you, Fran. All right. Well, listen, really good. Diego, why don't you work with her here if you could? Just put me back up there. All right. Well, listen, we'll work with Fran here. We'll try to get her back on here in just a few moments. But again, that we do have a kind of a powwow going on this weekend, mastermind group here. If you are part of our staff and did not receive the message from Reverend Robert in today's email, please look. Again, we'll be meeting a couple of times this weekend on Saturday and also Sunday. But again, we have big plans for the network coming up here. And so if you could, again, just go on our website on ncmedia.org. We have, again, just tons of program. We have morning and evening prayer. We have a pick-me-up midweek service, which is absolutely wonderful. And we also have all kinds of interesting activities that are planned for the rest of this year and into 2022. We're already talking about that. We're also talking about Christmas too, of all holidays here, looking towards the end of the year. But again, that we are looking to widen our footprint on the planet here. So again, if you go to ntmedia.org, again, you'll get more information about us. All right, let's try to get Fran back in. CQ. This is Alpha Charlie 8 Tango Hotel. Go ahead, Fran. Now we have Fran Daniels doubled. See, I knew you were a powerful practitioner. Oh, Diego, that's okay. We'll work with Fran afterwards. Okay, we have about 6 minutes left. So we'll work with Fran afterwards here to get her all lined up for next week. We do not give up here at the New Thought Media Network. Absolutely, positively not. Well, I won't be able to go through this story altogether, but I'm going to start it off with my sound effect. The U.S. intelligence community releases its long-awaited UFO report. Oh, there's been people saying, well, there's been UFOs for years and the government's been hiding it from us. The U.S. intelligence community on Friday released its long-awaited report on what is known about a series of mysterious flying objects that have been seen moving through restricted military airspaces over the last several decades, and they're not allowed. In short, the answer, according to Friday's report, is very little. But the fact that the intelligence community released the unclassified document marks one of the first times that the U.S. government has publicly acknowledged that these strange aerial sightings by Navy pilots and others are worthy of legitimate scrutiny. The report examined 144 reports on what the government terms unidentified aerial phenomena. Only one of which investigators were able to explain by the end of the study. Investigators found no evidence that the sightings represented either extraterrestrial life or a major technological advance by a foreign adversary like Russia or China. Investigators were also convinced that a majority of the sightings were also physical objects, the officials told reporters on Friday. We absolutely do believe that we are not simply sensor artifacts. These are things that physically exist. Noting that 80 of the reported incidents included data from multiple sensors. In 11 cases, investigators believe that there was a near-miss collision with U.S. personnel. It goes on here, but it says that the report raises more questions than answers. Congressional sources who told the intelligence community, please, we would like information if there is any type of UFO activity. Congressional sources who have seen the classified versions of the report have already expressed disappointment that there is not more of an explanation to the episodes, saying that the report raises more questions than it answered. Previous interviews with a half a dozen officials, as well as documents reviewed by CNN, depict a U.S. military and intelligence community that is struggling over how to remove the issue from the realm of science fiction and consider its actual national security implication. Who knows? We probably are not alone. All right. Diego is giving me the wrap-up sign here. We're at a minute till the hour. Again, we love each and every one of you. Thank you for your comments this evening. We love and appreciate you. We're going to work this out with Fran. We're going to find a way with our crack technical department on getting her on the air, and hopefully we'll do that next week. But again, thank you for all of your love and support. Full schedule is on ntmedia.org. Go on our schedule page, and also please go on the donate page. We're looking for individuals to help us out each and every month with a designated donation. Your monthly contribution helps us to set the budgets that we are going to need for the next year. So if you could please help us, we would really appreciate that. That's ntmedia.org/donate. All right, it's at the top of the hour. Time for me to go. Now, just to let you know real quick, I'll be back on the New Thought Media Network at 10:15 Eastern Time this evening for evening prayer. But until then, it's Pastor Michael wishing you the best week ever.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.